Yes, very good afternoon to all of the participants and welcome to today's session. And we are covering chapter 17 on correlation and regression, which is an important chapter of the statistics part of our curriculum. My name is Arijit Chakravarti, and we will delve deep into the chapter 17, including the basic concepts of correlation, regression, and of course, a lot of practical problems we shall cover. So I'm just sharing the presentation. Yes, can you please confirm whether this is visible? The slide is visible. Okay, fine. Right. So first, let us look into the areas we are covering. First and foremost, chapter 17 and chapter 18, as you know, these are the last two chapters. और ये जो आज का जो विषय है on correlation regression, इसमें दो हिस्से हैं. There are two parts. One of them is on the correlation part and the other is on regression. So सबसे पहले we will look at univariate and bivariate data. So पूरा अगर chapter 17 हम लोग देखेंगे उसमें बहुत सारे small components are there. First topic is on univariate and bivariate data. And the second is we will discuss about correlation, the meaning and concept of correlation. इससे पहले आप लोगों का standard deviation variance you have already covered. That is measure of dispersion. उससे पहले आप लोगों का measure of central tendency आपने study किए होंगे. So you have the basic concepts, and after correlation we discuss the types of correlation. Positive correlation हो सकता है, negative हो सकता है. There can be zero correlation. So we will look at all the possible types of correlation, because in the exam questions could come on the different patterns of correlation. Positive हो सकता है, negative, and so on. Then we will examine the different measures of correlation. यहाँ पे हम लोग चार important जो correlation measure करने के लिए, how to measure the relation between two sets of data. So first हम लोग scatter diagram के बारे में थोड़ा सा जानकारी ले लेंगे. इसके बाद we will move into Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient, which is indicated with R as the correlation coefficient.
Symbol.
And then
That is the symbol actually.
yes, we will look at the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient and the ways, the pattern. I mean, how do we step by step, how do we calculate the product moment correlation coefficient as well as the Spearman's rank coefficient we will cover. And the last, जो अंत में जो हम लोग का correlation का last part is the coefficient of concurrent deviation, जहां पे हम लोग थोड़ा सा प्लस माइनस पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव साइन उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा हम लोग बात करेंगे. एंड देन वी विल मूव टू द लास्ट पार्ट, दैट इज रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस. रिग्रेशन, उससे पहले हम लोग रिग्रेशन में हम लोग लीस्ट स्क्वायर मेथड पहले हम लोग जान लेंगे कि रिग्रेशन का मतलब क्या है, व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ रिग्रेशन इक्वेशन, एंड रिग्रेशन लाइन कैसे हम लोग ड्रॉ करेंगे. सो हियर we will discuss about the basic form of the straight line equation, which is y equal to ax plus b. So we will look at the different type of equations. We can have regression equation of y on x and also regression equation of x on y. और बाद में हम लोग MCQs जो important questions for our exam, ये chapter 17 हम लोग study करेंगे. सबसे पहले we will this is the schematic diagram which you can see in this slide.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Yes, very good
Sir,
afternoon.
very happy to see you and welcome to the
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
live
sir.
section of the foundation course, say quantitative aptitude. Today's chapter is very interesting chapter and scoring chapter also.
Yes, sir. Very,
And
very
with
much
your
so.
experience, you are sharing very beautiful lectures. We are going to hear from your voice.
Sure,
That
sir.
is, we are happy to know.
Thank you,
And
sir. My pleasure.
this is the 5 to 6 marks are scoring from this chapter, and easy and important also be from the statistics point of view also.
Right,
And
sir.
I welcome you, sir. And
Thank you, sir.
students, please devote on this topic, which is very scoring and interesting topic also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hari Chakravarti sir is a very experienced teacher. He is a multi-facing personality. He is a very is a singer, writer, and so many skills actually. Not one skills we can say that sir is left actually. He is a musician, composer, and so many things actually. And welcome you, sir. We
Thank you,
have
sir.
with
Thank you, sir. We'll continue. Thanks to see you and thanks for the welcome. So now we move on and सबसे पहले we will look into. So this is as Ravi sir just said. Please note, dear students and participants, that in the statistics part, some of the scoring chapters, if you see, like definitely correlation, regression, index numbers, central tendency, dispersion, these are highly scoring components, parts of this statistical part of our curriculum. So please make sure that you are clear about the basic concepts. Questions will be framed in such a way to test your basic understanding of the statistical principles, the mathematical principles. So उस हिसाब से हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे. सबसे पहले we will discuss, why we need to know about correlation and regression. So what is the relevance? ये हम लोग ये जो statistics में हम लोगों का correlation chapter है, ये क्यों है? And सबसे पहले you can see what is the business context. What is the need to know correlation regression as a chartered accountant, as a management consultant, or as an auditor? So number of reasons. First, of course, correlation regression हम लोग बात करेंगे बाईवेरिएट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की और हम लोग देखेंगे कि कोरिलेशन द वर्ड मींस रिलेशन बिटवीन टू सेट्स ऑफ डेटा. सो मान लीजिए बिजनेसमैन वांट्स टू नो whether there is any interlinkage or any relationship between investment and profit. So हर बिजनेसमैन को एक चिंता है. Every company has to think of investments, capital investment. But they need to know the relation between investment and profit. Investment बढ़ाने से क्या profit भी बढ़ेगी? Will it increase the profits? Similarly, second example, if you see, is when we talk about advertisement and revenue. Every company is spending lots and lots on promotion, sales promotion, advertisement, building up their brands. But will advertisement expense have a positive impact on the revenue? यानी एडवर्टाइजमेंट पे जितना खर्चा करेंगे will it lead to a corresponding increase in my revenue and my profit? If advertisement does not bring any further revenue, then there is no need to spend money on advertisement and brand promotion. So this is number one. You can see correlation regression जो chapter है आज की डेट में when we talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, you know that AI tools, their basic objective is to provide predictive analytics. So data scientists and business analysts, including, please remember, including auditors, they use a lot of concepts on correlation and regression when they want to predict the future. कि रेवेन्यू किस रफ्तार से बढ़ने की चांसेस है. Banks will look at the correlation and regression equations to understand कि भाई इतना लोन हम लोग दे रहे हैं, will it really help the company in increasing their revenue? Similarly, for apart from predictive analytics, even for decision making, to help business leaders in taking the right commercial decisions, correlation regression has a lot of impact. And ये बहुत ही practical chapter. So apart from the fact that this chapter is scoring, ये एग्जाम के लिए काफी scoring chapter है, उसको छोड़ के बना, keeping it aside, please remember this chapter has a lot of practical significance in finance, in business strategy. For example, in CA Intermediate, you have a paper, 50 marks paper on business strategy, strategic management. So correlation regression will have a direct impact on business strategy. Similarly, leaders want to identify, business leaders want to identify कहाँ पे opportunity है. Startup companies want to find out कि भाई, is there any new opportunity in particular sectors? So correlation and regression help you to identify new types of business opportunity, revenue model, नया business model बनाने में ये सहायता करती है. Lastly, you have improved management, resource allocation. All of you have good idea of management. So managing resources tactfully, efficiently, effectively to meet business goals, objectives. So how to allocate resources, how to improve marketing, how to optimize advertisement expenditure. So that means there is always certain relation between advertisement expense, revenue and profitability. सो देयरफॉर कोरिलेशन रिग्रेशन, जो कि आज की डेट में एआई का एक बहुत बड़ी हिस्सा, इट इज अ लार्ज कंपोनेंट, इट्स अ लार्ज पार्ट ऑफ एआई टूल्स व्हेन यू थिंक ऑफ यूजिंग जीपीटी एंड अदर टाइप्स ऑफ टूल्स. सो देयरफॉर correlation regression helps management not only to identify new business opportunities, इसके साथ साथ रिसोर्स को कैसे एलोकेट किया जाए, because you know resources are scarce, and how to increase the productivity. यानी स्ट्रैटेजी से शुरू करके मैनेजमेंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, उसके साथ साथ आइडेंटिफाइंग न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटी. सो दोस्तों, फ्रेंड्स, आज की डेट में हम लोग कहते हैं डेटा टू डिसीजन. स्टेटिस्टिक्स डील्स विद डेटा, स्टेटिस्टिक्स डील्स विद अ लॉट ऑफ फिगर्स, बट फ्रॉम द डेटा we have to identify pattern. You know the word pattern, linkage. So pattern identify अगर हम लोग कर पाएंगे, then we can actually use correlation, and from there हम लोग regression equation के द्वारा we can predict the future कि यहां तक अगर हम लोग का advertisement expense है तो कितना revenue यहां से आने का chances है. So there are a lot of relations, you know, sales and provision for bad and doubtful debts. So इसमें क्या relation है? As sales will increase, will provision also increase correspondingly? So therefore, we need to know correlation regression. And today, business leaders depend on statistics to create their strategy. So from statistics, the way forward is to use them in framing more effective business strategy. Similarly, from data to decisions. So दोनों में आप देखिए, डेटा में भी डी है, डिसीजन में भी डी है. यूजिंग डेटा, हाउ टू अराइव एट द राइट बिजनेस डिसीजंस, एंड यूजिंग स्टैटिस्टिक्स, हाउ टू इंप्रूव योर स्ट्रेटजी. राइट, सो दीज आर द प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशंस. नाउ वी लुक एट द टेकअवेज. सो सबसे पहले क्वेश्चंस कीप कमिंग ऑन बाइवेरिएट डेटा. हम लोग सबसे पहले यूनिवेरिएट और बाइवेरिएट डेटा के बारे में थोड़ा सा हम लोग जानकारी ले लेंगे, एंड देन वी विल लुक एट the concept of correlation, the types of correlation which can happen, positive, negative, and zero, and then we will look at regression. So please remember that correlation means between two variable, for example, between height and weight of a person, or between advertisement expense and, say, for example, profitability, between investment and profit, between risk and return. Normally we know higher the risk, higher the return. That means as risk goes up, return also goes up. And vice versa, as return increases, risk also increases. So investment management, portfolio management, अगर आप में किसी ने भी इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स के बारे में आपको पता है, पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट के बारे में आप जानते हो, so you know that we have to find out the relation between two variables. Correlation deals with relation. Is there a relation? We are trying to find out using correlation. Regression में हम लोग देखेंगे कि अगर एक दो वेरिएबल के बीच कोई रिलेशन है, we will try to find out using regression equation, we will try to predict the value. So if we know the amount of money spent for advertisement in the last 5 years, we will try to find out what can be the possible revenue. If we know the sales, we can find out what can be the possible provision for doubtful debts. So please note that correlation does not mean that there is a cause and effect relation. We are just trying to find out whether there is a relation between two variables. Okay. यूनिवेरिएट बाइवेरिएट, चैप्टर 17 का शुरू में, एकदम बिल्कुल शुरू में यूनिवेरिएट के बारे में डिस्कशन है. So what is univariate? Whenever we are dealing with single data, one variable, for example, the sales figure of a particular company, or the profit from a particular investment for the last 5 years, 10 years, or maybe the salaries paid per month, or the marks students are scoring. So these are univariate. But there may be a situation where we have to study bivariate. Yani business में, as an auditor, as a chartered accountant, many times we have to deal with multiple figures. Like as I was discussing, revenue and cost. If revenue increases, whether cost will increase. And if so, at what proportion? What is the linkage between revenue and cost? So therefore, when data is collected on two variables simultaneously, they are known as bivariate data, and the corresponding distribution will be known as bivariate. Univariate means single data, like sales, like profit. But bivariate means a set of two data. For example, in this, if you look at the study material of ICAI, they have given a very wonderful example, easy to understand. If X and Y denote marks in mathematics and statistics, say for a group of 30 students, so every student is getting certain marks in mathematics and statistics. The question is there a relation between the score of a student so far as mathematics is concerned and so far as statistics is concerned? That means here there are two sets of variable. Mathematics score, marks of mathematics, we can call it X. Okay, X1, X2, X3 up to X30 because there are 30 students. And the students are also given scores in statistics. So we can find out their score under two heading, mathematics and statistics. We are denoting mathematics by X and denoting statistics score by Y. So Y1, Y2, Y3 up to Y30 because we have 30 students. So just imagine that this is the concept of bivariate data. Correlation regression बिल्कुल bivariate data पे ही applicable है because we are trying to find out whether there is any particular, there is any particular relation between these two data. Say, for example, height and weight. Okay, so as height increases, will weight also increase? As investment increases, will the return on investment also increase, ROI? So these type of interrelation between two sets of variables, we are trying to find out whether there is a relation, and if there is a relation, how strong is the relation? That is the concept of correlation, and therefore please remember we use bivariate distribution for the purpose of calculating the correlation and the regression analysis. So correlation regression, these are two different type of analysis. और ये हम लोग क्या करते हैं? It will be done only when we have more than one variable. So for our syllabus, we are dealing with bivariate, yani where we are dealing with two sets of variables. Correlation helps us to understand whether there is any association or whether there is any relation between two sets of variables like profit and investment, height and weight, right? Advertisement expense and overheads incurred and revenue. Even whether more overheads will lead to more production, that also is a big question. So therefore, we have to find out the level of correlation, और उसके लिए हम लोग बहुत सारे formula methods की प्रयोग करेंगे. Most important for our exam is the product moment correlation coefficient and Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. ये है correlation. Regression क्या है? Regression में हम लोग prediction की बात करेंगे. That means here regression is concerned with predicting the value of a dependent variable. So as you know, when you think of the basic X and Y, we always say that X is independent variable जिसका value मेरे पास already मौजूद है. I know the value of X. Say for example, let us take the simple case of advertisement expense. So X is the advertisement expense. We know, we have got the data. So it is the independent variable. But now we have to find out what can be the possible revenue or the sales on account of advertisement. This is the dependent variable and this is denoted by Y. So regression analysis deals with predicting the value of the dependent variable, in this case Y, corresponding to a known value of the independent variable. So when we know X and when we know the relation between X and Y, we are trying to find out what is the probable estimated value of the dependent variable, that is Y. So this is the basic difference, friends, between correlation and regression. और अभी जो है 17.1 जो very important part of chapter 17, kindly check the study material. You will see that 17.1 gives us the basic concepts in a summary in a point form, which helps us to study, not only to study, उसको एग्जाम के लिए रिमेंबर भी करना है, समझना भी है, अप्लाई भी करना है. So correlation is trying to quantify the strength and direction of the linear relationship. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी नो कि जैसे कोई भी प्रोडक्ट का डिमांड बढ़ेगा या फिर मान लीजिए प्राइस जब बढ़ जाता है, इकोनॉमिक्स यू आर वेल अवेयर अबाउट द थियरी ऑफ डिमांड एंड सप्लाई. You know the relationship between price and demand, price and supply. For normal goods, if the price increases, demand will fall. If price reduces, demand will increase. So there is a relationship between price and demand. लेकिन ये किस तरह का रिलेशनशिप है? ये है इनवर्स. प्राइस जब बढ़ जाता है, normally demand will fall and vice versa. So that means even for an economist, even for a businessman, they need to know the relation between these important particulars like demand, price, demand, supply and price. So this is the purpose in correlation. And the extent, if you see the extent of correlation between X and Y, first of all, objective number one, दोनों variable के अंदर do we have any relation, do we have any association, यानी दोनों में क्या कोई रिलेशन है, कोई पैटर्न दिख रहा है दोनों में कि भाई एक जब बढ़ जाती है दूसरा भी बढ़ जाता है, या फिर एक जब बढ़ जाता है दूसरा घट जाता है, रिवर्स. So are they moving together in the same direction? Positive correlation. One is increasing, the other is increasing in the same manner, in the same amount. Proportion is same. Then we will say positive correlation, perfect correlation. But if it is such that the one variable increasing, the other variable decreasing in the same proportion, in the same manner, then this is negative correlation, inverse relation. But this is also important. So therefore, correlation tries to understand and enumerate two things. Number one, whether there is any association or relation between two sets of variable. That means in a bivariate distribution, दोनों जो डेटा हम लोग के पास है, whether there is any relation. Number two, how strong is the relation. So हम लोग देखेंगे correlation coefficient. By calculating the correlation coefficient, we can find out the strength of the relation. दोनों में strength कितना है? If it is +1, that means perfect positive correlation. If it is -1, that means when one moves up, the other goes down in the same manner, in the opposite direction, in the same proportion. So we will call it perfect negative correlation. Plus, there can be zero correlation. For example, height of a person and the intelligence. So ये जरूरी नहीं है कि the taller you are, the more intelligent you are, or the shorter you are, the more intelligent you are. So this may have no correlation. Artificial intelligence, machine learning में different variable के साथ the software is trained, right? Using data, deep learning, it is trained to identify possible patterns between number of variables. Artificial intelligence असल में अगर देखा जाए, the heart of AI is predictive analytics. और prediction का जो basic ABCD जो है, वो है chapter 17 of our curriculum, that is correlation regression. So regression में हम लोग prediction की बात करेंगे, correlation में हम लोग relationship ढूंढने की बात करेंगे, और relation अगर है, कितना strong है, वो हम लोग निकालने की कोशिश करेंगे. How to find the strength of correlation? Now we look at the measures of correlation. So there are 4 methods. First one is scatter diagram, जो हम लोग देखेंगे. If we plot the value of x and y, height and weight in a graph, we will get a diagram that is called scatter diagram. Second is the Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient. And there you will find, when we look at the formula, you will find that this formula uses two very basic concepts which already you have learned. One of them is covariance. That is, when X and Y jointly varies, covariance. And the other is standard deviation. Okay, that means standard deviation means the degree of variability. And friends, please remember, dear students and participants, kindly remember that standard deviation and variability is a measure of financial risk. If a particular investment, you are investing in the IPO of a particular company, or if you are holding shares of a particular company, you are getting dividend. So if the dividend goes up and down, kabhi 18%, kabhi 1%, kabhi 25%, third year 4, it is 4%. Year 5, it is 18%. Year 6, it is 11%. So the graph is going up and down. यानी variability बहुत ज़्यादा है. Amplitude is very high. But that means the risk is very high. So standard deviation, variability, variance, which you know, variance is the square of standard deviation. So this basic concept of statistics, which we are going to use in this discussion on chapter 17, ये इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजमेंट कोई भी इन्वेस्टर का सबसे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन रहता है कि भाई ऐसा इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे, ऐसा स्कीम में हम लोग निवेश करेंगे जहां पे वेरिएशन कम हो. For a senior citizen, for a senior investor, the person wants to invest in debt funds जहां पे रिस्क कम है, यानी जहां पे स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन of the yearly return is minimum. So we will see how to use this formula. And lastly, we have the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, which is a very simple formula. और जैसे सर बता रहे थे रवि सर की, दिस इज अ वेरी स्कोरिंग चैप्टर, क्योंकि यहाँ पे आपको केवल 2 से 3 फॉर्मूला आपको याद रखना है. Coefficient of concurrent deviation is a more simple, a very small, short and sweet formula. So in correlation analysis, we have seen that ultimately correlation tries to find out whether there is a relation between two variables, यानी हम लोग bivariate distribution की बात कर रहे हैं. Usually there are two types of relation, positive and negative correlation. So if two variable moves in the same direction, we will call it positive correlation. For example, height and weight. Yield and rainfall, jitna rain badega, productivity of crops, will it also increase? Yes or no? If yes, then how strong is the relation? Similarly, investment or profit ke beech kya relation ho sakta hai, that also we need to check. And that means this is an example of positive correlation. So please note that there are two types of correlation, coefficients or relationship. First, we have the positive when both the variables move in the same direction, and then we have the negative when one moves up and the other goes down. That means two variables moving in opposite direction, opposite. So one is going up, one is coming down. So this is called negative correlation or sometimes inverse relationship. Price and demand. So as price goes up, normally demand will fall. इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के लिए सोचिए, क्लेम जितना बढ़ेगा, नंबर ऑफ क्लेम्स, द मोर द नंबर ऑफ क्लेम्स, द प्रॉफिट ऑफ द कंपनी मे फॉल. हायर द प्रोविजन, profit will usually fall, because you know provision for bad debt, provision for doubtful debt, this is usually seen as a charge in the profit and loss statement. So जितना provision बढ़ेगा उतना profit घटने की उम्मीदें है. So provision and profit will move in opposite direction. That means they are having negative correlation. So please see that we are discussing about commercial concepts, business terms we are using, like investment, like profit, demand, supply, price, cost, revenue, and so on. Right? And there can be, of course, zero correlation. For example, agar dekha jaye that shoe size and intelligence may not have any relationship. So positive correlation, kuch और examples हम लोग देखेंगे that ours study their exam scores. So if you study for longer duration, will it increase your score in the exam? Usually, yes. If you study using the right guidance, if you study from the correct study materials of the institute, if you practice hard, definitely more the number of hours you put in, more the effort, more will be the effect. यानी हम लोग हमेशा बात करते हैं इनपुट आउटपुट. Higher the input, will it lead to a more better output? If yes, then we will say positive correlation. Second example, negative correlation, as x increases, y decreases, or as x decreases, y increases. So here we have a negative or an inverse relationship. Example, as I was mentioning earlier, that as the price of a product goes up, usually, I mean, I'm talking about normal products, I'm not talking about daily necessities without which we cannot live. Of course, normal products, if you see, so as the price goes up, the demand usually will fall. Zero correlation, height and intelligence, weight and intelligence, weight and number of marks you get, and so on. So when correlation coefficient, therefore correlation दो तरह की होती है, positive and negative. जब हम लोग देखेंगे correlation coefficient is +1, that means it is a case of perfect positive correlation. और जब हम लोग देखेंगे कि correlation coefficient is -1, that means it is a case of perfect negative correlation. So I hope you are able to follow and understand. These are basic concepts और ये केवल statistics के लिए जरूरी नहीं है. ये आपको बाद में you will find it will help you later in CA intermediate when you are going to learn business strategy, when you will be going deep into financial accounting and financial reporting. So you will find there are relationships between different variables in a company, right? So positive correlation, cost of goods and sales. Higher the cost of goods sold, COGS, normally higher will be the sales value. And in the same direction. Negative correlation, price and quantity demanded. जब price बढ़ जाएगा, quantity demanded will reduce. So opposite, inverse relation, right? So we have seen that correlation deals with two questions. Number one, is there any probable association or relation between two sets of variables? If yes, if there is a relation, if there is an association, if there is any pattern, then how strong is the pattern? How strong is the relation? मैथमेटिक्स एंड स्टैटिस्टिक्स में हम लोग अगर स्ट्रांग बोलेंगे और या फिर वीक कहेंगे, वी हैव टू गिव अ नंबर, वी हैव टू बी स्पेसिफिक. सो वी हैव टू डिनोट द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ कोरिलेशन यूजिंग अ नंबर, एंड द नंबर इज कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट. Maximum value of correlation coefficient will be +1 and the minimum value can be -1, right? So therefore, some more examples, weight and blood pressure. Will it have positive correlation? जितना ज्यादा weight होगा, जितनी कम आपका exercise आप करते हो सकता है blood pressure पे थोड़ा सा असर पड़ जाए. So even in medical science, doctors want to find out the relationship between weight and blood pressure. So this is a bivariate distribution. Weight is denoted by X and blood pressure denoted by Y, and correlation is trying to find out whether there is any linkage, whether there is any association. Second example, number of hours of study and exam marks. Normally, more the number of hours. Of course, the study should be productive. Hours of study here means number of productive hours of study. So more the study, usually if the study effort, initiative is in the right direction, if we not only do hard work but smart work, then it will result in a better output. यानी input क्या है? Number of hours of study. Output क्या होगा? Exam marks. यानी success या फिर not being successful. The difference between being successful and not being successful. So this is input and output. Third example, advertisement and revenue. Fourth example, sales and provision for doubtful debt. Fifth example is age of the car and the reliability. यानी जितना मान लीजिए आपका गाड़ी या टू व्हीलर, age of your two wheeler, can it be expressed in numbers? Yes, age can be expressed in terms of number of years, number of months. So it can be expressed mathematically. रिलायबिलिटी, इस तरह से सोचिए, गाड़ी नॉर्मली जितना पुरानी हो जाती है उसका मेंटेनेंस का खर्चा उतना ही बढ़ जाता है. सो वी कैन से एज द एज ऑफ द कार इंक्रीजेस, द ईयरली मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट विल आल्सो इंक्रीज. इन जनरल आई एम सेइंग. दैट मींस बोथ ऑफ देम हैव अ मूव इन द सेम डायरेक्शन. यानी दोनों जो वेरिएबल है, एक्स यानी एज ऑफ द कार, वाई यानी द मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट, या फिर गाड़ी का जो सर्विसिंग का खर्चा होता है, जिसे हम लोग कभी कभी कॉस्ट ऑफ ओनरशिप भी कहते हैं. ओनरशिप कॉस्ट, गाड़ी खरीदने से आपका कॉस्ट इज नॉट कंप्लीटेड. You have to spend money on petrol, on diesel, on fuel, on on the fuel which you are using, renewable or non-renewable. Of course, you also need to spend on service cost, service charges, and definitely you need to spend on other ancillary charges. So, गाड़ी का reliability की अगर बात करें, higher. Yes, absolutely, Mr. Ujjwal Goyal. Yes, there is a positive correlation. Thank you. So you can see they move in the same direction. But then a car manufacturer wants to know what is the level or what is the strength of the relation between age of the car and the maintenance cost. Okay. Then you have social media screen time and exam grades. So the more number of hours I spend in social media, and maybe I also watch, apart from social media, maybe I watch a number of web series and OTT. So relation between screen time, okay, screen time and exam grade. So there can be certain relation. Yes, very good. Negative. Thank you, Saraswati Koppar. Thank you, Saraswati. Yes. Normally, we can say that more the screen time, of course, many of you are smart enough, even after watching a number of web series, after spending 8 hours, 10 hours in social media, you may get very good grades. But I am a very ordinary person. If I spend a lot of time in social media, or if I spend a lot of screen time watching movies, definitely if I have an exam, I will fail. I'm very clear and open about it, and there is no hiding the fact. So therefore, for me, more the social media screen time, my exam performance will absolutely move downwards. So there is an inverse relationship. So you can, I hope you can see the interesting part of correlation. Or that means you can see in every example we have capital investment profitability. First thing which a company wants to know, ROI, return on investment, which is measured by what? Profit after tax by your total investment. So जितना मैं invest करूंगा in terms of property, plant, equipment, funds, it is all part of my investment. Will it give me a corresponding positive revenue? Will they move in the same direction? If so, how strongly? So if I know that yes, they have a 80% connectivity, यानी जितना मैं मान लीजिए I will increase my investment, I will have a 80% output. So I am very confident because 80% yani 0.8, it is a positive correlation, plus 0.8 is a very strong correlation, positive correlation, right? Okay, so now we will see. Yes, it's a positive. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Narayani. Yes. Now let us see some examples. Strength closeness. So मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ random, मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ bivariate data का example लिया है. So you can see height of class 12 and weight of class 12. Normally जितना height बढ़ेगा उतना आपका weight भी correspondingly बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि आपका body mass भी उस हिसाब से increase होगा जितना आपका height है. Of course, there are examples where you might be very skinny, very thin. So your height is maybe you're 6'2", but you're absolutely lean figure. But normally, because statistics deals with normal, we don't deal with outliers. We don't deal with extreme data sets. Normal behavior is height and weight will have some positive correlation, say 0.5. So this is an example of scatter graph जहां पे हम लोग देखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि how strong is the relation or the closeness. So this is around 0.5. Second, we move to the next slide, and here we see the correlation between two random variable. Here we see thoda sa weight or height, another example, plus 0.8. So please see that now the scattered points, they are closer to each other. If I go back to the last slide, let me just go back to the last slide. You can see यहाँ पे जो points आपको दिख रहा है, what are these points? These are the value of the observation. ये काफी scattered है, 0.5 दिखा रहा है, positive है, लेकिन काफी scattered है. मतलब ये अगर straight line में हम लोग plot करने की कोशिश करें, ये आसानी से plot नहीं होगा. Many of the points will fall outside the straight line. 0.5 है. जैसे हम लोग और क्लोजर रिलेशन और स्ट्रॉन्गर एसोसिएशन की बात कर रहे हैं, you can see the correlation coefficient is now 0.8 and you can see weight and height, the observations are now closer to each other, यानी dispersion कम हो गया, standard deviation कम हो गया है, closer. Please remember, you might have heard about Six Sigma. Even in Six Sigma, which is a quality management tool invented and developed in Japan for the first time, and world leaders, आप Toyota की बात करो, Motorola की बात करो, even in our country in India, several Indian companies starting with ICICI Bank, Maruti Suzuki, Infosys, Wipro, they have implemented Six Sigma. अगर आप Six Sigma का थोड़ा सा भी बाद में जब भी आपको वक्त मिले, क्विक अगर आप सर्च करेंगे इंटरनेट या कोई AI टूल यूज करके, you will find Six Sigma. The word sigma is what? Sigma denotes standard deviation. पूरा Six Sigma का जो फिलॉसफी है वो का पूरा स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन यानी डिस्पर्शन के ऊपर पूरा बेस है. It is based on dispersion. Such a large, effective, globally followed quality management principle, technique, but it is absolutely based on statistics. So you can see whatever we are learning in mathematics and statistics is not only for the sake of scoring marks in foundation exam and becoming successful, but please think from the longer perspective, intermediate, CA final, even if you later on after completing your CA, if you want to do other post-qualification courses from ICAI, you will find that correlation, regression, central tendency, dispersion, standard deviation, variance, covariance, ये सारे concept 100% applicable है और 100% practical है. So please study these chapters with energy, with enthusiasm, not just for the sake of marks. Please don't think that this is only statistics or mathematics. Please remember, mathematics, statistics also forms the backbone of accountancy, financial management, and economics as well. Okay. Next, we see negative correlation, price and demand. So यहाँ पे हम लोग देख रहे हैं -1, correlation coefficient is -1, यानी यहाँ पे पूरा का पूरा negative, perfect negative correlation. Please see, ये पूरा एक हम लोग जो देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे normal जो दिख रहा है कि it is a straight line. Now we see moderate correlation, moderate negative correlation in this graph. Casual WhatsApp chat per week versus exam score. So normally जितना हम लोग WhatsApp या फिर सोशल मीडिया पे हम लोग जितना मान लीजिए कि कैजुअल बातें करेंगे, ग्रुप्स में बातें करेंगे, कुछ अपडेट्स या नॉर्मल जो हम लोग relaxed way में chat करते हैं. Sometimes we have no control over the time we are spending, but normally it is seen that exam score उतना ही घटता जाएगा because our valuable time we are spending sometimes in unproductive chats. So casual chat per week or exam score का अगर ग्राफ देखा जाए, it is -0.8 as per this diagram. So it shows an example of moderate negative correlation. Lastly, we look at IQ and height. So here we can see कि IQ और height में बिल्कुल zero correlation, यहां पे आप देख सकते हो, इट इज अ स्ट्रेट लाइन, बट द स्ट्रेट लाइन इज पैरेलल टू द एक्स एक्सिस, यानी एक हॉराइजॉन्टल लाइन गया है, विच मीन्स कि बाइवेरिएट डेटा में कोई भी रिलेशन, कोई भी एसोसिएशन बिल्कुल नहीं है, इसमें कोई भी प्रेडिक्ट करने की बात नहीं है. देयर इज नो वे टू लिंक IQ and height. There is no way to find the interrelationship between IQ and height. Right? I hope you are able to understand correlation, the concept of correlation. Correlation coefficient hota kya hai? Maximum value +1, -1 is the minimum value, and पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन बोलने से हम लोग प्लस डिनोट करेंगे, नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन बोलने से माइनस डिनोट करेंगे, और हम लोग स्कैटर ग्राफ के द्वारा वी आर एबल टू सी द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ कोरिलेशन. Yes, IQ, Arjun sir, yes, IQ full form is definitely intelligence quotient. Yes. Next we move on, and अभी थोड़ा हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, यहां पे we can see, thank you Ujjwal. You can see one more relation. The study material I am also entirely, is getting from the study material part. So whenever there is a negative linear relationship, negative means the correlation coefficient will be somewhere between -1 and 0. Positive correlation means the correlation coefficient का value 0 से +1 के बीच होगा, और जब correlation coefficient is +1, it means perfect positive linear relationship. ठीक है. अच्छा, does no correlation, okay. Yeah, Neha, I hope it is like elasticity of demand. Narayan is saying I didn't get this IQ graph and height. Please see ये जो graph आप देख रहे हैं, you can see on the left hand side, that is on the y axis, we have plotted intelligence quotient. You know कि IQ टेस्ट होता रहता है, IQ का स्कोर मिल जाएगा. सो अगर मान लीजिए 10 या 15 या 20 या 40 लोगों का, सारे लोगों को एक एग्जाम, हम लोग IQ का एक एग्जाम लेते हैं, और जहां से सबका IQ स्कोर पता लग जाएगा. देयर आर नंबर ऑफ ऑनलाइन एग्जाम्स, यू कैन ट्राई, यू विल गेट योर IQ स्कोर, एंड उनका हाइट भी हम लोग के पास पता है. सो एक्स एक्सिस वी आर प्लॉटिंग द हाइट, एंड वाई एक्सिस वी आर प्लॉटिंग द IQ, यानी इंटेलिजेंस कोशेंट. So if you plot it, you will find what you see scattered. इसका मतलब है कि some people with high IQ may have very, height is very small, a very short person, high IQ. Again, you will find, if you see the graph, there are some people with high IQ who are tall. Please see, Narayani, I hope you are able to understand from this graph. ये जो आप points आप देख रहे हैं, these points depict zero correlation. Zero correlation is also known as no correlation. यानी ये दोनों जो variables है, इसमें कोई relation नहीं है. हो सकता है, ऐसा हो ही सकता है. So correlation tries to find out or tries to determine whether there is any relation between two sets of variables. After doing analysis, ये भी हो सकता है कि दोनों जो डेटा सेट हमारे पास है, इन दोनों में कोई रिलेशन नहीं है. Like in this example, some people who are short, they also have high IQ. Some people who are tall, they also have high IQ. Some people who are short, they also have low IQ. If you see the graph. Also, some people who are tall, they also have low IQ. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब है कि भाई हाइट और IQ में कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, क्योंकि कोई लंबा आदमी 6.5 फीट, उसका कुछ लोगों का लंबा है लेकिन हाई IQ है, कुछ लोगों का लंबा हाइट है लेकिन लो IQ है. Some people are short but with high IQ. Also, some people are short with low IQ. That means IQ, intelligence quotient, with, if you link intelligence quotient with the height of a person, आदमी का कद कितना है, दोनों में कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, because the data we are getting are all mixed up. That's why what you see of the scatter graph here, if you see, it is not a linear equation. बाएं से दाहिने तरफ नहीं गया, या फिर बाएं से दाहिने, I mean to say from the lower left hand side to the upper right hand side. अगर इस तरह का ग्राफ होगा, it shows positive correlation. अगर बाएं तरफ अपर साइड से दाहिने तरफ लोअर साइड की तरफ गया है, it will show negative correlation. But here you can see it is basically like scattered without any specific pattern. No pattern. Yes. Narayani is saying it means some have less, more, and we can't draw straight line. Absolutely, Narayani, yes. That means we cannot draw straight line. There is no point of linkage, right? Yes. IQ, Saraswati, IQ is intelligence quotient. No correlation. Say another example of no correlation. Say a person's IQ, okay, a person's intelligence, मान लीजिए, और उसका communication skill. Please think how intelligent you are and how good you speak. Do they have any specific relation? You will find some people, you all know the difference between extrovert and introvert. ठीक है? कुछ कुछ लोग होते हैं extrovert. They love to meet people, they love to interact, they can express themselves. There are some people who are quiet and they keep to themselves. They talk to each other, they talk to themselves, but they don't want to mix with people. They are introvert. But you will find some introverts with high intelligence. You will also find some introverts with low intelligence. Also, you will find extrovert, जो ज्यादा बातें करते हैं बाहर की तरफ, जिन लोगों का ध्यान रहता है, जो people who want to mix with others, people who are very bold in expressing themselves. Extrovert. Extroverts ऐसे बहुत लोग हैं जिन लोगों का IQ ज्यादा है, जो इंटेलिजेंट के साथ साथ एक्सट्रोवर्ट भी है. At the same time, you may come across some people who speak a lot, but who may not have the depth, who are not intelligent. So if you do a scatter graph plotting, you may find that the relation between your communication style, your psychology, whether you are extrovert or introvert, versus your intelligence may not have any particular relation. यानी ये हम लोग zero correlation बोल सकते हैं या फिर no correlation बोल सकते हैं. For example, just to give you a small instance, the well-known, internationally acclaimed physicist and Nobel laureate Albert Einstein, was he very vocal? Was he an extrovert? Was he a big talker? I don't think even today, if he was alive, he probably wouldn't have been very visible in social media. He was an introvert. But look at his IQ. Very intelligent, super intelligent. He is seen as one of the most intelligent people on earth who ever lived in this planet. On the other hand, you will find people who were intelligent as well as highly extrovert. So this is another example just to show you, yes, there can be ambivert, mixture or a combination of both introvert and extrovert. Absolutely. Yes. So two data set may not have any relation. Now we come to the two formula, very simple formula. Scatter diagram we have seen. It is a diagrammatic method. लेकिन diagrammatic method से हम लोग को क्या पता लगता है? We are only getting the overall trend, यानी trend, pattern के बारे में पता लगता है. लेकिन उसका exact relationship कितना है? Is it 0.75? Is it 0.6? Or is it 0.90? This we cannot find using scatter graph. Scatter diagram only gives us overall pattern of the relationship. So we can say, looking at the graph, हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि भाई ये ग्राफ से दिखता है कि दोनों जो वेरिएबल है, दोनों जो डेटा सेट हमारे पास है, इन दोनों का पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन या फिर इन दोनों का नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन या फिर इनमें कोई कोरिलेशन है ही नहीं. दिस कंक्लूजन कैन बी ड्रॉन व्हेन वी यूज स्कैटर ग्राफ. बट नाउ वी नीड टू नो exact yes, Ujjwal, very good. Exact numerical value we cannot find out using scatter graph. So we have to now look at the two simple formula. So scatter diagram या scatter graph helps us to distinguish whether there is any relation between two variable and वो relation किस तरह का है, positive है या negative है. But it does not give us any exact figure. So now to get the figure, we will look at two important formula for the exam. First one is Carl Pearson's product moment coefficient of correlation. which is denoted by the letter R, and then we will see the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. This is a formula which you need to remember. The formula is basically, you can see this correlation coefficient R, product moment correlation coefficient, which was developed by Carl Pearson, shows or links the degree to which X and Y vary together. यानी X और Y का covariance ये आएगा न्यूमरेटर में. डिनोमिनेटर में क्या आएगा? इंडिविजुअल वेरिएबिलिटी ऑफ X एंड Y. यानी X का इंडिविजुअल वेरिएबिलिटी क्या है, Y का इंडिविजुअल वेरिएबिलिटी क्या है. सो न्यूमरेटर में हम लोग कोवेरियंस यूज करेंगे और डिनोमिनेटर में इंडिविजुअल जो दो डेटा सेट है X और Y, X का सेपरेट स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, Y का सेपरेट स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. Okay, accordingly, if in case you get some numerical for on this particular chapter, we have to find the means of the two series X and Y, deviation निकालेंगे और उसके बाद हम लोग X और Y का multiplication करके उसका sigma यानी summation निकालेंगे, and from there we will put those values in the formula. So we will see some examples and we will easily understand the concept. So Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient की अगर बात करें, so you can see the formula RXY is equal to covariance COV of XY divided by sigma X into sigma Y. Okay, so please see the formula. This is from the study material, where covariance of X and Y means that means joint variation of X and Y, whereas in the denominator you are getting the individual variation of X, which is measured by the standard deviation of X, and individual variability of Y, which is measured by the standard deviation of Y. Accordingly, the formula is, as you can see, it is given in the study material, and the coefficient of correlation, that is product moment correlation coefficient, is n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y divided by the product of the individual standard deviation of X and Y. छोटा सा simple सा formula. So मतलब covariance COV covariance XY divided by sigma x into sigma y. एक चीज याद रखना है, कभी कभी एग्जाम में आ सकता है कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ डिटर्मिनेशन. सो कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ कोरिलेशन जो है R, उसको अगर हम लोग स्क्वायर करेंगे, then we are getting the coefficient of determination, which is shown by R square. Okay, so this is just, please remember these two formula you must have already gone through from the study material, and this formula, just two simple formula you need to remember on correlation. ओके, सो कार्ल पियर्सन का जो कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट है, हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, इसका मैक्सिमम वैल्यू क्या हो सकता है? +1, व्हिच शोज परफेक्ट पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन, और इसका मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या हो सकता है? -1. सो द कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट इज ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू -1, and you can say it is basically less than equal to +1. Now we will see the advantages. Of course, it gives you the entire value, of course. Okay, Anjali has a question. Is theory related or practical question are mostly coming in the exam? It is a mix. Anjali, please note that when we are talking about correlation, regression, or even for index numbers, which we will take up on the last day, on 4th of December, on different chapters, you see, theory is important because some questions could come. Say a question could come that, say, two variables are given, and a question could come that, do you normally see positive correlation? Ya fir, say a particular correlation figure is given, say 0.65 plus 0.65. Question could come that, is it positive correlation? Is it negative correlation? If it is positive, is it a strong positive correlation? Or is it a weak positive, kamzor, weak positive correlation? So please, I will only request all my participants in this platform today who are following the session to please put equal importance both to theory and to the practical problems, because correlation regression has a lot of theoretical principles which we have already covered, which are equally important for our exam. Okay, now we will look at the basic, now the last part, of course, is if there is any change of base and change of origin. X and Y are two variables. Now, if these are changed to a set of new variable from X and Y, we are finding out U and V, where U is equal to X minus A by B and V is equal to Y minus C by D. यानी यहां पे हम लोग ओरिजिन का भी चेंज कर रहे हैं एंड इसमें हम लोग वी आर ऑल्सो डिवाइडिंग इट बाय बी एंड डिवाइडिंग सी बाय डी. ओके, दैट मीन्स यहां पे चेंज ऑफ ओरिजिन भी हो रहा है, चेंज ऑफ बेस भी हो रहा है. So now the question is, what will be if the correlation coefficient of R, that is X and Y, is known? हम लोग को पता है कि कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट X और Y के बीच का कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट का अमाउंट कितना है. क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि भाई कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट बिटवीन U एंड V, उसका क्या, उस पे क्या इंपैक्ट होगा. तो हम लोग देखेंगे. वन क्वेश्चन हैज कम फ्रॉम Chaitanya, that how to remember the formula. See, my only request to you is, please, when you are practicing the problems, first look at the formula and practice the problem. Step number one, whether it is a formula of integral calculus or say differential calculus or mathematics page, index number or AP, GP, या फिर statistics. So number one, practice solving the problems. Look, first of all, you need to look at the solved examples of ICAI in the study material, where you can see the formula. आप जितने बार formula को देखेंगे आंखों से, उतना brain capture कर लेगा. Number one. Number two, step number two, practice solving the problems with the formula in front of you. Number three, chapter wise जो सारे formula है, उसको separately आपका notepad, आप जो भी इस्तेमाल करते हो, whether you are studying online or you are having physical, you are studying using pen and paper, सारे फॉर्मूला एक जगह में लिख के रखिए जो आपको पीरियोडिकली रिवाइज करना है, क्योंकि कुछ फॉर्मूला बिल्कुल नया है हम लोग के लिए. Some formula we are learning for the first time. So you need to revise and review the formula at least once in every week so that you remember. क्योंकि एग्जाम में आपको रिमेंबर करके अप्लाई भी करना होगा. सो इसके लिए स्टेप नंबर वन, सारे फॉर्मूला एक जगह में लिख के रखिए. स्टेप नंबर टू, ट्राई टू सॉल्व द क्वेश्चंस looking at the formula, looking at the solved solutions given, so that your brain will register. हर फॉर्मूला का जो विजुअल एक इम्प्रिंट होता है, एक विजुअल पैटर्न होता है, वो ब्रेन कैप्चर कर लेता है. ओके, एंड you know the power of human brain is infinite. लास्ट में ट्राई टू रिमेंबर, रिकॉल कि भाई ये कोवेरियंस एक्स वाई डिवाइडेड बाय सिग्मा एक्स सिग्मा वाई. लेट मी जस्ट राइट. ओके, कभी कभी whenever you are free for some time, take it as a mind game, मेंटल एक्सरसाइज के हिसाब से काम करिए कि भाई ये रैंडमली खुद को पूछिए कि भाई इंडेक्स नंबर का कुछ फॉर्मूला या स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन का क्या फॉर्मूला है, या मोड, मीडियन और मोड का क्या फॉर्मूला. ट्राई टू रिकलेक्ट फ्रॉम योर मेमोरी, राइट इट ऑन अ पीस ऑफ पेपर इन योर एक्सरसाइज कॉपी एंड देन चेक इट विद द एक्चुअल फॉर्मूला. If you follow these steps, I'm sure 100% of the time you will remember the formula. And please try to review and revise each formula at least once a week, preferably before the exam, so that you are able to remember the correct formula. And whenever required, you are able to not just remember, but you are able to apply. क्योंकि दोस्तों एक चीज याद रखना है, एग्जाम का सिचुएशन में थोड़ा सा प्रेशर आएगा. सो अंडर प्रेशर फॉर्मूला रिकॉल करना और उसको अप्लाई करना, उसके लिए मेरा विनती है सबसे, आई विल humbly request all my dear participants in this platform to please practice solving the problems, mathematics and statistics under exam conditions. Please go through the revisional test paper, the mock test paper for the last 3 or 4 exam terms, and please try to solve it and then check the formula and your workings and your answer, of course. So this will help you. Okay, now we look at the relation Rxy and Ruv. Very simple. X or Y, it is a set of two variables. U and V are also two variables, but U or V has been derived from X and Y. Because we can see U is equal to X minus A by B, where A is basically the shift of origin. उसको मैं shift कर रहा हूं और उसको B से divide कर रहा हूं, यानी B जो है scale हम लोग बात करते हैं. It is a scale. Okay, upscale, downscale, up and down. You're dividing it. Same for V. So the formula is very simple. The relation is very simple, that if the original pair of variables X and Y is changed to a new pair of variables U and V, where A and C are the origin, क्योंकि X minus A हम लोग कर रहे हैं, Y minus C कर रहे हैं, यानी हम लोग शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं ओरिजिन को, फिर उसको डिवाइड कर रहे हैं by a scalar quantity which is B or D. So the coefficient Rxy will always be equal to Ruv, provided the sign is same. That means the property states that if the original pair of variables X and Y is changed to new variables U and V, such that there is a change of origin and a change of scale, then Rxy is equal to B into D divided by देखिए नीचे mod D, modulus D and modulus B दिया हुआ है. So अगर B और D में if the sign positive or negative, if there is a change of sign, then Rxy mathematically quantifying it will be the same, but sign change हो जाएगा. So if B or D changes, then Rxy will be equal to minus Ruv and vice versa. So हम लोग देखेंगे कि it will depend on the sign of the scale factor. B or D अगर negative हो गया, then Rxy will be equal to minus Ruv. यानी X और Y का correlation coefficient will be equal to minus negative of U and V. मतलब B और D अगर negative हो गया, scale अगर negative हो गया, then the correlation between U and V, the sign will change. Okay, that means X और Y अगर positive correlation है, लेकिन scale का जो factor है, यहां पे scale का factor क्या है? B और D. So B और D में अगर एक भी negative आ गया, negative sign आ गया, then automatically the correlation coefficient between U and V, the sign will change. Okay. Now we come to the practical examples. First example, compute the correlation. एकदम exam में जिस तरह का question आ सकता है, या फिर if you see the last few years question paper हम लोग देखेंगे. So यहाँ पे n is given, यानी 10, sigma xy 220 दिया हुआ है. ये example 1 है study material का. सिग्मा एक्स स्क्वायर 200 है, सिग्मा वाई स्क्वायर 262, sigma x is 40, sigma y is 50. That means in this example all the variable यानी x और y का जितना भी वैल्यू आपको चाहिए, sigma x का वैल्यू आपको दिया गया है, sigma y आपको पता है, it is given, sigma x square is given, sigma y square is given, and sigma xy is also given. So therefore just putting the formula, applying the formula, putting these values in the formula, we are getting n into sigma xy, please see, minus sigma x into sigma y. That is the formula. Numerator में covariance है, यानी n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y. So n is 10, sigma xy is 220, sigma x is 40, 40, sigma y is 50, यानी 50. Denominator में क्या है? You are getting n into sigma x square. Sigma x square here is 200 minus sigma x whole square. Sigma x का whole square. पूरा standard deviation का formula. Absolutely the formula which we have learned in calculating standard deviation or when we were solving problems on variance analysis. So this is the first part of the denominator. और डिनोमिनेटर का जो लास्ट पार्ट क्या है? स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 10 into 262. 262 is sigma y square minus sigma y का whole square, यानी 50 का whole square. So you are getting 0.91. 0.91 अगर correlation coefficient है, that means it is a strong positive correlation between x and y. Okay. So please remember, this is the formula we used: n sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y divided by basically the formula for the individual standard deviation, x का standard deviation, y का standard deviation और दोनों का product. यही है in the denominator. Now we see another example, a sample of 6 sigma x square. No, sigma Chaitanya is asking, sigma x square will not be equal to sigma x. Sigma x is something is different. X का पूरा value sigma x. Sigma x square means x1 whole square, x2 whole square, x3 whole square. पूरा whole square जो है. So sigma, if I say sigma x square, that means x1 whole square plus x2 whole square plus x3 whole square. इस तरह से up to plus xn whole square. That is sigma x square. Okay. ये क्वेश्चन देखिए, सीरियल नंबर इज गिवन, एज दिया हुआ है, वेट दिया हुआ है, यानी एज और वेट का कितना कोरिलेशन है वो पता करने की कोशिश किया गया है. फॉर्मूला इज गिवन इन द लोअर पार्ट. द कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट, वी आर डीलिंग विद द प्रोडक्ट मोमेंट कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट. दिस इज इक्वल टू सिग्मा एक्स वाई माइनस सिग्मा एक्स इंटू सिग्मा वाई बाई एन, जो हम लोग फॉर्मूला देख रहे थे. सो अगर हम लोग फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करेंगे, let us see the working out. So in this slide you can see sigma xy has कैसे workout किया गया है, आप देख सकते हो. xy आप देखो, for serial number 1 x is 7, y is 12, so xy becomes 7 into 12 यानी 84. serial number 2 आप देखिए, age is 6 and the weight is 8. Okay, so product xy is 48. इस तरह से फॉर सीरियल नंबर 1 से शुरू करके सीरियल नंबर 6 तक, here n is 6, xy का प्रोडक्ट बनाया गया है and we are getting sigma xy which is 461. x यानी एज, उम्र, एज, sigma x also we have computed 41 and sigma y also is calculated to be 60. Sigma y is 66. We have calculated sigma xy and then x square. So जो मैं बता रहा था अभी कि 7 का स्क्वायर अब देखिए 49, 6 का स्क्वायर इज 36. सीरियल नंबर 3 पे आइए, एज इज 8 यानी x इज 8, स्क्वायर इज 64. इस तरह से x स्क्वायर का पूरा कॉलम टोटल करने के बाद सिग्मा x स्क्वायर इज कमिंग टू 291. And similarly, if you go to the last column on this slide, the right hand column, the extreme right side column, you can see sigma y square has been, we have worked out the y square. Here y serial number 1 देखिए, weight is 12. So y square is 12 into 12, यानी 12 square, which is 144. Serial number 2, if you see 8 square is 64. In this way, last column, if you see, sigma y square comes to 742. Now the last part is very simple. Putting all the values in the formula, we are getting a correlation coefficient which is 0.759. That means you can say fairly strong positive correlation. I'm not calling it perfect. I'm not calling it perfect positive correlation. लेकिन मैं इसको जरूर कहूंगा कि ये fairly strong positive correlation है. Okay, right. Ujjwal is asking, what is the limiting value of strong positive correlation? Strong positive correlation. So we know perfect correlation positive is +1. Strong positive correlation, we might say 0.7 onwards, plus 0.7 onwards, we can say it is a strong positive correlation, right? Now we look at the next example. Same concept is used. Relationship between anxiety and exam score. Same concept we have used. Anxiety is mapped. Test score is mapped. So अगर आप देखेंगे, we can find that anxiety score जब किसी का 10 होता है, एग्जाम में बहुत ही कम मार्क्स वो लेके आता है 2. उसके बाद देखिए एंजाइटी स्कोर जब 8, किसी का एंजाइटी बहुत ज्यादा 8 है, उसका स्कोर देखिए 3. But if you go down the x-axis, you will get a situation number 4, fourth situation, चौथी सिचुएशन जहां पे दिया है जब किसी का एंजाइटी 1 होता है, उसका टेस्ट स्कोर बहुत अच्छा है 7. इससे हम लोग ये बात समझ जाएंगे, इवन विदाउट सॉल्विंग द प्रॉब्लम, लुकिंग एट द डेटा वी कैन फाइंड आउट कि भाई यहां पे जब किसी का एंजाइटी बढ़ जाती है, उसका एग्जाम का स्कोर कम हो जाता है, घट जाता है. और किसी को जब अपने आप पे कंट्रोल ज्यादा होता है, यानी एंजाइटी जिसका कम होता है, उसका स्कोर अच्छा हो जाता है. So we can say yes, it is a negative correlation. But how strong is the negative correlation? वो देखिए. Yes, Ujjwal, very good. Negative correlation. So how strong is the negative correlation? Simple. So we have found out 3 x और y दिया है. आपको करना क्या है? आपको x स्क्वायर निकालना है. x आपके पास है, सो सिग्मा x आप निकालोगे, सबसे पहले सिग्मा y निकालोगे, उसके बाद सिग्मा x स्क्वायर, सिग्मा y स्क्वायर, और अंत में सिग्मा xy. एज सिंपल एज दैट. x और y मींस यहां पे कोरिलेशन या रिग्रेशन की हम लोग जब बात कर रहे हैं, इसमें हम लोग 5 परम्यूटेशन हम लोग बात करेंगे, लाइक दिस, और कॉम्बिनेशन. सो एक सिग्मा x, वन कॉम्बिनेशन, सिग्मा y, सिग्मा x स्क्वायर, सिग्मा y स्क्वायर एंड सिग्मा xy. ओके, सो यहां पे हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि एज पर द सॉल्यूशन, दिस इज जस्ट एन एग्जांपल. So you can see that it comes to indirect strong correlation. So minus 0.94. So it is basically, we can say it is a negative strong correlation, inverse or indirect. Okay. One question from Chaitanya sir, if R goes beyond 1, then what will happen? R will never go beyond 1 because the formula is set in such a way that the maximum value of R can be +1 and the minimum value is -1. As you know, probability of an event, can it exceed 1? No, it cannot exceed 1. Probability has a range 0 if it is never going to happen. Unprobable, improbable, 0. If it is 100% probable, yes, +1. So probability cannot become negative, probability value cannot exceed 1. Similarly, correlation coefficient is bounded. ये boundary है, -1 और +1. ठीक है. ओके, अभी जाएंगे another last example, correlation between age and blindness. ये भी दिया हुआ है, यहां पे भी हम लोग मिड वैल्यू निकालेंगे एंड सेम फॉर्मूला, सिग्मा x, सिग्मा y निकालेंगे, सिग्मा x स्क्वायर, सिग्मा y स्क्वायर और सिग्मा xy, एंड हियर वी आर गेटिंग पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन ऑफ 0.96 प्लस 0.96, जो कि यही दर्शाता है, जो यही दिखाता है कि भाई ये दोनों में काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग, फेयरली वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. 0.96 means it is almost becoming perfect correlation. 0.96, that means जितना एज बढ़ेगा उतना ही ब्लाइंडनेस बढ़ने का चांसेस है. So this shows a very strong correlation between these two variables, that means age and the level of blindness. Very, very good, strong positive correlation, I think. Yes, Harendra Kethari, yes, thank you. Now we move to shift of base, जो मैं बता रहा था, RXY is equal to RUV if B and D are of the same sign. But अगर B और D में एक पॉजिटिव है, एक नेगेटिव है, then automatically RXY will become minus RUV. यानी correlation coefficient of X and Y, mathematically value wise it will be the same as the correlation coefficient between U and V. लेकिन क्या होगा, साइन चेंज हो जाएगा. That means X और Y का पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन है, लेकिन U और V का it will become negative correlation. That is the only change. इस तरह का एग्जाम में बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आया है. So 17.8 जो स्टडी मटेरियल से मैंने यहाँ पे इंक्लूड किया है, kindly go through the presentation which has already been uploaded, and you can see the working out is very simple. So if B and D are of opposite sign, अगर B और D पॉजिटिव साइन है, that means अगर B भी पॉजिटिव है, D भी पॉजिटिव है, then correlation coefficient of X and Y will be equal to the correlation coefficient of UV. and the sign will be same. If out of the two scale B and D, if one of them is negative, B negative but D is positive, or B is positive but D is negative, then RXY, that is correlation coefficient of X and Y, will be equal to RUV, but the sign will change. That means RXY will now be equal to minus RUV. If you look at the absolute number is same, but the sign will change. That means now the trending हम लोग बोलते हैं ट्रेंडिंग है, ट्रेंड विल चेंज. एक पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन होगा, एक पूरा ऑपोजिट हो जाएगा नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन, लेकिन द डिग्री ऑफ कोरिलेशन will be same. Okay, so in this case we can see that this is an example where in the first example we can see that B or D दोनों का ही नेगेटिव साइन है. B minus 3.2 आ रहा है, D minus 4 आ रहा है. That means correlation coefficient of UV will be the same as correlation coefficient of XY. Same, I mean to say, both on the absolute number and the sign. But if there is a situation where, if you see in situation number 2, अगर देखा जाए कि B है 3/2 यानी पॉजिटिव है, लेकिन D is -4, that means the rule is B और D दोनों में अगर एक भी नेगेटिव आया, then आपका जो correlation coefficient है between U and V, the sign will change. So correlation coefficient of XY is positive. But if B or D, either of them is negative, then the correlation coefficient of U and V will become negative. So this is the last part of this particular, important part of the correlation coefficient, which is basically the product moment. Last is a very simple one, Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Here we are looking at the ranking. So two sets of marks are given. So मान लीजिए कि एक X में हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि भाई इकोनॉमिक्स में स्कोर 10 स्टूडेंट्स का स्कोर इकोनॉमिक्स, तो फाउंडेशन एग्जाम लेते हैं इकोनॉमिक्स और मान लीजिए मैथमेटिक्स क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड. सो इकोनॉमिक्स का स्कोर दिया है 10 स्टूडेंट्स का X, Y में दिया है क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड QA का जो मार्क्स. सो इसका अगर हम लोग product moment correlation coefficient, we have seen X and Y, so we will find sigma X, sigma Y, sigma XY, plus we will find sigma X square and sigma Y square, and we will put all the values in the formula which I have discussed. लेकिन rank correlation में क्या हो रहा है? It is simple form. It is more simple. यहां पे हम लोग क्या करेंगे, रैंक निकालेंगे. यानी इकोनॉमिक्स का जो 10 स्टूडेंट्स है, मार्क्स के हिसाब से सबका रैंक क्या है. Similarly, quantitative aptitude का जो marks है, based on the marks we will find out the rank. दोनों रैंक का डिफरेंस is DI. उसका हम लोग स्क्वायर निकालेंगे and the formula is very simple, 1 minus 6 into sigma D square divided by N cube minus N. So the rank correlation coefficient basically shows why it is called rank correlation coefficient. क्योंकि हम लोग देखना चाह रहे हैं कि भाई इकोनॉमिक्स में स्टूडेंट्स का जो रैंकिंग मिला है, जो बंदा इकोनॉमिक्स में फर्स्ट आया है, क्या वो क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड में भी फर्स्ट है या ऊपर की तरफ है, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड है. यू आर गेटिंग द पॉइंट. सो वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड द डिग्री ऑफ interconnectedness, the degree of association between the rank. Here the absolute marks or the absolute score is not important, the rank is important. Okay, so it is a correlation coefficient of two sets of ranks, rank 1, 2, 3 and so on. So it is more simpler, and therefore just like any correlation coefficient, even for the rank correlation coefficient, the boundary will be +1 and -1. So Spearman's rank correlation coefficient maximum value will be +1 and minimum value is -1. जब Spearman's rank correlation coefficient +1 होगा, we can say that there is a complete agreement in the order of the ranks. मतलब जो बंदा, जो स्टूडेंट, मान लीजिए if we are trying to find out correlation between your score in quantitative aptitude and accounts. Okay, so we always ask the question कि भाई accounts में जो तेज है क्या वो quantitative aptitude QA में भी तेज होगा? जो economics में बहुत strong है क्या वो मान लीजिए क्या वो communication English language में भी strong होगा? What is the level of interconnectedness between a student's performance in accountancy and QA? These are simple questions we always ask. So इसके लिए rank correlation coefficient is the best example. और हम लोग को जब जो करना है वो है rank 1 यानी economics का जो rank है. Say for first student, say मान लीजिए student, let us take the name of some of our friends like Narayani, for example, or Arjun. So say Narayani's rank in the economics, say, is out of 10 students, say Narayani has got second marks. Second rank is 2. So XI is 2. Yani in economics, her rank is 2. And in, say, QA, her rank is 3. Okay. So the difference is 2 minus 3, that is minus 1. इसका हम लोग स्क्वायर करेंगे and uska summation kar lenge. So we will see an example and the formula is very simple. We rank the values of x and y 1 to n. Her candidate, her जो रो है, रो वाइज दोनों वेरिएबल, दोनों जो रैंक अभी मिल गया, दोनों रैंक हम लोग डिफरेंस निकालेंगे और हम लोग उसका स्क्वायर करेंगे और फिर उसका समेशन ले लेंगे and we are getting the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Okay, so the formula is 1 minus 6 into sigma di square, where di is the difference between the rank of economics, say economics paper and QA paper. Okay, या फिर मान लीजिए the rank of one company in terms of say revenue and the rank of the same company in terms of profit. Revenue, I am the highest in revenue does not mean I am also the highest in terms of profitability. My revenue may be more, but ये भी हो सकता है मेरा cost भी ज्यादा है, so मेरा profit थोड़ा कम होगा. ये भी हो सकता है. Being the best in terms of revenue does not always mean that you are also the best in terms of profitability. But there may be a relation. This type of relation is best calculated using the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. बहुत ही प्रैक्टिकल है, बहुत ही मैं खुद हम लोग यूज करते हैं as consultants, as auditors. I can tell you with whatever little experience I have, we use these formula almost in every consulting or in different type of advisory activities as a management consultant, as an auditor. So these are highly practical. That is what I can say. And this is the formula which we use, which is the rank correlation coefficient formula. अगर टाई होगा, किसी का हो सकता है कि multiple people might get the same marks in economics, multiple persons might get the same marks in QA, then थोड़ा सा ट्विस्ट है, the formula is given. Equal ranks होने से आपको ये छोटा सा formula याद रखना होगा. Basic formula is very simple, 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n cube minus n. और अगर n आप कॉमन लेते हो डिनोमिनेटर में क्या रहेगा, n स्क्वायर माइनस 1. इक्वल रैंक्स होने से एक फैक्टर वहां पे एडजस्टमेंट फैक्टर ऐड हो जाएगा, विच इज गिवन 1/12 इनटू m1 क्यूब माइनस m1. दैट मींस जो टाई हुआ है वो सारे डिटेल्स यहां पे आ जाएगा. वी विल टेक द फर्स्ट एग्जांपल. लेट अस सी दिस एग्जांपल हियर. कंप्यूट द coefficient. Yeah. It is written square. Chaitanya, please see the formula which I said, if you see, is n cube minus n. So if you take n as common, the formula is n multiplied by n square minus 1. Okay, is the same. Now, if you see the coefficient of rank correlation between sales and advertisement, matlab sales mein figures are given, advertisement figures are given. Okay, the question is we are trying to find the ranks. So what we have done, sales is given. So हम लोग sales का जो rank है उसको x करेंगे और y निकालेंगे advertisement का. उस तरह से हम लोगों को advertisement और sales दोनों का ranking पता लग जाएगा. So in this slide you can see advertisement का जो amount दिया हुआ है XI, sales दिया हुआ है, advertisement दिया है, sales का हम लोग rank निकाल रहे हैं. First we are finding out the rank for the sales, which is modified XI. You can see the third column. Column number 4, rank for advertisement. Then we are finding the difference, DI, which is equal to XI minus YI and DI square. This is the formula. Very simple problems on rank correlation coefficient might be expected for the exam. You should be prepared. And in this particular example, what we could see is, if you see the example here, we could see that rank correlation coefficient comes to 0.95. So it is a high, strong positive value of rank correlation coefficient. यानी sales और advertisement में काफी एक पॉजिटिव मजबूत एक रिलेशन दिखाई दे रहा है बेस्ड ऑन दिस एग्जांपल. ओके, टाई अगर होगा सो जस्ट चेक 17.11 इन द स्टडी मटेरियल. यस, हाई पॉजिटिव. उज्जवल, यू आर राइट, हाई पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन. 17.11, if you see, it is a case of tie. Tie normally, if you look at the last few years, just check. I'm not very sure how many times these type of questions may come, because tie का थोड़ा सा आपको workout करना होगा. But just remember the formula nevertheless, just to be on the safer side. And now we look at the last part, which is coefficient of deviation. So we have discussed already about the scatter diagram. Next, we talked in detail. We discussed about the product moment correlation coefficient. Number 3, we have analyzed and discussed with examples Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Now, the last part of correlation is what we call the CCD. CCD means the coefficient of concurrent deviation. इसका एक example देख लेंगे, then we will know what is the formula. The formula, if you see on the lower part of the slide is given plus minus square root of, again plus minus 2c minus m by m, जहां पे C denotes the degree of concurrent deviation. Okay. So concurrent deviation means, concurrent means what? Ek saath. If you conquer, C-O-N-C-U-R, that is the spelling. Conquer means you are having, if I say that, are you able to conquer with my idea? That means, are you following my idea? Are you having the same mentality? Are you having the same opinion? So we say conquer. Concurrent means concurrent lines, concurrent angles, you know. So question now is concurrent deviation कैसे निकालेंगे? Let us see this example. 17.15 from the study material. Yeah, how to calculate, Harendra Kitare, how to calculate the rank of sales? Rank of sales, highest sales जिसको मिला है उसको rank 1 दे दीजिए. Okay, जिसको second highest मिला है rank 2, इस तरह से ranking करिए. Okay. Find the coefficient of concurrent deviation. Please see here. First of all, price is given and demand is given. Okay. Please see, यहाँ पे हम लोग concurrent deviation के लिए sign पे ध्यान देंगे, positive sign और negative sign. 1990 में price is 25, 91 में 28, यानी there is a positive change. So ये जो तीसरा जो slide आपको दिख रहा है, I'm just moving my cursor. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो positive sign है. Why? Because the price in 1991 has increased in the positive direction. So the deviation is positive. 92 में price बढ़ गया, 30 हो गया. It is now 30. Again positive deviation. Deviation means what? You are diverting. Deviate up कर रहे हैं. ये क्या upper side में हो रहा है? अगर upper side है positive deviation, अगर lower side में आप deviate कर रहे हो, it becomes negative deviation. So 91 it is positive, 92 positive. इसके बाद गौर करिए friends, 93 में students please see, it is now 23. That is from price of 30, it has become 23. यानी negative side में deviation हुआ है. So तीसरा column, in the third column, please see that the sign which is used is a negative sign. Again 1994, the price has increased from 23 to 35. So positive sign. इस तरह से for all the, how many years are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 minus 1, 7 years are there. First year we are actually ignoring. साइन अगर हम लोग देखेंगे तीसरा कॉलम पे अगर गौर करेंगे 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so n is 7 here. Sign of deviation of demand पे अगर देखें सेम रूल, डिमांड 35 से 34 हो गया 1990 और 91 के बीच, सो नेगेटिव साइन. इस तरह से हम लोग डिमांड का कॉलम जो है साइन ऑफ डेविएशन फॉर द डिमांड ऑल्सो वी आर कैलकुलेटिंग, एंड फ्रॉम देयर प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द डेविएशन. प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द डेविएशन मींस दोनों साइन का प्रोडक्ट. 1991 प्राइस का डेविएशन साइन इज पॉजिटिव, लेकिन 1991 में डिमांड का डेविएशन साइन इज नेगेटिव. सो हम लोग ये दोनों साइन का प्रोडक्ट निकालेंगे, प्लस इंटू माइनस, इट गिव्स यू माइनस. सो प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द डेविएशन इज माइनस. सो एक्चुअली कॉलम ए और बी देखिए, यानी तीसरा कॉलम और पांचवा कॉलम, थर्ड एंड फिफ्थ कॉलम, वॉट एवर साइंस यू आर गेटिंग, वी नीड टू फाइंड द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द साइन. So we know plus into minus gives you minus, minus into plus gives you minus, plus into plus will give you plus, and minus into minus will also give you plus. Same formula is used, and this is the end. You can see now we are directly applying the formula. In this case, number of pairs of observation is 7. 1991 से 97 अगर देखा जाए 7 pairs के बीच हम लोग डेविएशन ढूंढ रहे हैं. लेकिन डेविएशन क्या चीज का डेविएशन? साइन का डेविएशन, बढ़ने का या घटने का. पॉजिटिव डेविएशन कितना हुआ है? प्लीज चेक स्टूडेंट्स, यू विल फाइंड आउट ऑफ 7 years in 2 cases there are positive signs. Please look at the last column now, product column, यानी column number 6. Out of 7 we get 2 positive deviations. So using the formula, we just put that plus minus 2c minus m by 7. Here c is how much? C is, if you see c number of concurrent deviation, it is basically 2. C is 2. यानी number of positive sign concurrent deviation जो है 2 हुआ है. So we are looking at, if you see concurrent division में देखिए प्लस और प्लस concurrent movement एक हुआ है माइनस और माइनस. बाकी सारे केसेस में प्लीज सी द मूवमेंट इज डिफरेंट. मतलब प्राइस अगर बढ़ गया, डिमांड घट गया है, नेगेटिव ऑपोजिट. केवल 2 केस ऐसा है 1992 जहां पे प्राइस भी बढ़ा है और डिमांड भी बढ़ गया. सिमिलरली इफ यू सी 1993, उसमें भी प्राइस घट गया, डिमांड भी घट गया. सो 2 केसेस ऑफ कॉन्करेंट मूवमेंट इन सेम डायरेक्शन. अगर इंक्रीज कर रहा है दोनों इंक्रीज कर रहा है, अगर डिक्रीज कर रहा है दोनों साथ में डिक्रीज कर रहे हैं. Okay, so this is concurrent deviation, very interesting. And then applying the formula, we are getting minus 0.65, yani there is a negative correlation between price and demand. So this is the last. Okay, one question from Ujjwal: why we are not considering only positive sign of 2 rather than negative sign? Positive sign of 2. Yeah, we are considering negative sign also. If you see positive sign 1992, दोनों का positive है, we are considering that. Here m is 2, यानी concurrent division 2 बार हुआ है. First time is 92, and the second time is in 1993, where you see that there is a negative, both have gone down. Price has gone down, demand has gone down. 1992 में price going up and demand going up. Okay, so 2 times, 1992 and 93. So m is 2. Okay. So this is the last part of correlation, and we see correlation coefficient. Please remember that correlation coefficient का जो square होता है उसको हम लोग कहते हैं coefficient of determination. यानी अगर correlation coefficient is plus 0.7, then the coefficient of determination is 0.7 square, yani 0.49. Okay, so that is called the coefficient of determination, and the ratio of explained variance by total variance is also shown as r square. यानी correlation coefficient का square करने से जो coefficient of determination हम लोग को मिल रहा है, that is what? That basically shows explained variance, the ratio of explained variance divided by total variance, right? Now we come to regression, which is the smaller part, of course. Regression में, as we saw, idea is to predict. कैसे हम लोग predict करेंगे? Correlation, we have seen relationship, positive, negative, nil correlation, zero or no correlation. We have done complete analysis of scatter graph diagram, and then we looked into the Spearman's rank correlation. Before that, we were discussing about the Carl Pearson's the product moment correlation. Lastly, we have analyzed through an example very interesting correlation coefficient, that is CCD, the coefficient of concurrent deviation. And just now we have talked about and understood what is the concept of coefficient of determination, which is basically the square of the coefficient of correlation. Regression, we are only dealing with linear regression, यानी दोनों वेरिएबल के बीच का जो रिलेशन जो स्ट्रेट लाइन में प्लॉट कर सकते हैं. Please note there can be curvilinear regression also. Two variables may have a interrelation, which when plotted on a graph can show a curve. But for our exam, for our syllabus, we only have linear correlation. Okay, so simple regression, we know in regression and correlation, dependent variable is always y, usually, where y is equal to a plus bx. You all know that in case of straight line, we know that b is seen as the slope of the line and y is the intercept. Y is equal to a plus bx, where x is the independent variable जिसका वैल्यू अब हम लोग के पास है. वो वैल्यू हम लोग यूज करके and using the relation we are trying to find out the value of the dependent variable, यानी prediction करने की कोशिश हम लोग कर रहे हैं. It is a method of prediction or estimation. That is what I was discussing in the very beginning, predictive analysis. Please see the simple example. Local tennis club charges $5 per hour plus an annual membership fee of $25. We have to find out the total cost of playing tennis for 10 hours per month. So we are using the simple equation y equal to a plus bx. Of course, when you look at the other way, x is equal to ax plus b, but it is y plus bx, yes. So here we can see when x is equal to, the charges are 5 hours per dollar, annual fee is 25. So 25 is more like a fixed cost, constant we can say. So here you can see a is 25, b is the slope, yani the rate. So here b is 5. So therefore when we have to find out total cost of playing tennis for 10 hours per month, that means when x is 10, we are getting what is the value of y? Y equal to a, the constant is a, so a plus y equal to a plus bx. So b is 5, x is 10. So we are getting 5 into 10 plus 25, that is 75. When x is 30. So these type of questions can come in the exam, just for your information. And if you see that when we get x equal to 30, we are getting 30 into 5 plus 25, that is 175. Okay. So this is the simplest example of regression. Regression line का जो equation है, आपको याद रखना है, it is simple linear regression we are talking about. So regression means two variables are having certain dependence or certain interrelation. Y is usually the dependent variable, X is the independent variable. Okay. In case of a simple regression model, we use y equal to a plus bx, जो हम लोग अभी देख रहे थे. Regression equation का details, if you see, only 2-3 points are there. Regression equation हम लोग draw करते हैं, जो line हम लोग draw करते हैं, we use a technique which is given in the chapter OLS, ordinary least square method. And regression, that means, is a statistical technique to model the relation. It is used for predicting, estimating the value of the dependent variable. and x is usually the independent variable, y is the dependent variable. And अगर हम लोग scatter graph, अगर हम लोग plot करेंगे, as we saw earlier, it will give rise to a scatter plot or a scatter graph. Regression is very powerful in statistical analysis. Why? Because it is linking one variable with the other and using the relation. आपको input पता है, आपको independent variable का value पता है, आपको relation equation आपको पता है. Okay, so y equal to a, if you talk about a plus bx, when we talk about this equation, y is dependent. आपको क्या पता है? आपको b पता है, स्लोप ऑफ द लाइन पता है, यानी रेट पता है, आपको कांस्टेंट फैक्टर पता है, so you can easily find out the value of y. So regression is highly powerful tool in statistical analysis and business as well, because using regression we can find out the value of the dependent variable. So ये estimation या prediction के लिए बहुत important है. Normally, this is the graph. You can see y equal to ax plus b. And if you see here, you will find that the line, ये जो relation है, you can see a, b is the intercept, and the slope is given here, and y is the predicted value, y1 is the true value. और दोनों में थोड़ा error होगा. जितना observations are close to each other, that means जितना पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन होगा उतना ही रिग्रेशन लाइन में, रिग्रेशन लाइन का एरर का जो क्वांटम, इट विल रिड्यूस. सो फ्रॉम अ स्कैटर्ड डेटा सेट, द मोर कॉम्पैक्ट इट बिकम्स व्हेन द वैल्यूज आर क्लोजर टू ईच अदर, देन यू आर गेटिंग अ straight, not only a perfect straight line, but you are getting minimum error terms. Okay, so OLX का जो when we talk about the ordinary least square method of least square for y equal to a plus bx, the formula b का जो formula same as you saw earlier, slope of the best fitting regression line n sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y divided by n into sigma x square minus sigma x whole square, यानी स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन का फॉर्मूला. ऊपर की तरफ कोवेरिएंस, नीचे की तरफ स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, यानी रिग्रेशन इक्वेशन अगर हम लोग देखेंगे, द वैल्यू ऑफ b will become byx, that means regression equation of y on x. This is nothing but correlation coefficient r multiplied by sigma y by sigma x. और अगर हम लोग x on y करेंगे, रिग्रेशन इक्वेशन ऑफ x on y, it will just get reversed, correlation coefficient r into sigma x by sigma y. इसका derivation of the formula, I think it is not part of our curriculum, but please remember these two formulas. Sometimes you have to remember several formula and apply them in exam scenarios. So correlation अगर देखा जाए, it was basically, the idea was to find the relation. Regression clearly indicates cause and effect, and intention of regression is to find out or predict the value of the dependent variable. That means in case of perfect correlation, just imagine perfect positive correlation, that means correlation coefficient is +1 or -1. इसमें क्या होगा? The two lines of regression will coincide. Okay, plus if you see the properties of regression coefficient, ये आपको याद रखना है, because if you multiply the correlation coefficient, that means the regression coefficient byx into bxy, multiply करके if you find out the square root, you are getting the correlation coefficient. That means the correlation coefficient is the geometric mean of the two regression coefficient. Regression line का जो coefficient byx and bxy, ये दोनों का product निकालने के बाद इसका अगर हम लोग square root निकालेंगे, we are getting basically the correlation coefficient. So this is the relation between correlation and regression. Let us see one example. Appliance store conducts 5-month experiment to determine the effect of advertisement on sales. So advertisement figure is given. There are 5 months, yani n is 5. Advertising is shown in terms of expenses is shown. Revenue is shown, and revenue, of course, is shown in terms of X, and advertising expenses shown in terms of Y. So sigma X we have found out, यानी total 5 महीने का total revenue कितना है we have got. Sigma X square we have found out, sigma Y and sigma Y square, और sigma X Y भी हम लोग निकाल रहे हैं, यानी X और Y का जो possible combination, sigma X number 1, number 2 sigma Y, number 3 sigma X square, number 4 sigma Y square, and number 5 is sigma XY. ये पांचों हम लोग निकालने के बाद, plus if you also get sigma X, you can also find X bar, यानी X का mean average. जैसे यहां पे आप देख सकते हैं कि sigma X is 15, number of months is 5, यानी N is 5. So sigma X is 15, N is 5. So X bar, यानी average mean is 15 by 5, which is 3. Similarly, Y bar, यानी average of Y, average of advertisement expense is coming to 10 divided by 5, which is 2. Now, finally, we are putting that in the equation to find out the value of B, which is regression. B क्या है? B है regression coefficient. जैसे हम लोग correlation coefficient निकाल रहे थे, same regression coefficient. So we are getting B का जो value, we are getting B equal to 0.7. So the equation, from there we are also getting the value of A, and therefore the final regression equation comes to Y is minus 0.1 plus 0.7 into X. So with this, if you know the value of X, the revenue, then you can easily find out X यहाँ पे जो है revenue है, you can easily find out the value of Y. So this is the concept of regression, and you can see regression totally depends on basically correlation. कोई difference नहीं है. Properties का जहां तक सवाल है, regression coefficient remain unchanged due to a shift of origin, but it will shift due to a change of scale. Same principle which we saw in the discussion on correlation coefficient. यानी जब भी scale में change हो रहा है, if there is a change due to scale, automatically sign will change. So here we can see U or V, we are finding BYX is given, BXY, it will change, Q by P हो जाएगा. Two lines of regression will intersect at the point where X and Y are the variables under consideration. This is also natural. And last but not the least, दोनों regression coefficient जो है, that is BYX and BXY. This is regression coefficient, product of two regression coefficient. This type of questions can come, very simple question, but we need to remember the formula. Correlation coefficient is nothing but the geometric mean of regression coefficient. So X और Y का जो regression coefficient BYX and BXY, ये दोनों का अगर geometric mean हम लोग निकालेंगे, that geometric mean, that is GM, geometric mean, will give you the correlation coefficient between X and Y. So if a question comes like this, BYX is given and BXY is given, we can easily find out correlation coefficient by finding out the GM. Lastly, we look at the last few minutes on some of the examples from the previous year's exams and also MTP mock test papers. Compute correlation coefficient between X and Y. From the following data, we can see here N is given, sigma XY given, sigma X square given. So the simple formula N sigma XY minus sigma X into sigma Y divided by standard deviation formula for X and Y. So which comes to 0.91. First formula which we need to remember, this is nothing but the product moment formula, that is the Carl Pearson product moment formula, formula number 1. The second example we will check. I have taken some questions, many of the questions from set A. Set B, some of the questions are very long. I'm not very sure whether those questions will carry 1 mark because I think the calculation is quite substantial. Example 2, for a group of 8 students, the sum of squares of difference. This is based on Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. So formula number 2. Okay. Yeah, please, Akshit, please type your query because already we are discussing in details, and we just have non-stop. We are going since 2 p.m. We just have few minutes, so we have some important examples. You can send your query, or you can send in the chat in the query box. I'll get back to you later. But first, we will have to complete some of the examples. Okay. So for a group of 8 students, sum of squares of differences in ranks is given. यानी n is 8 given, और आपको क्या है कि आपको जो di square of the differences in the marks, that is rank. मैथमेटिक्स का स्कोर क्या है, उसके ऊपर रैंक क्या मिला है, स्टेटिस्टिक्स का रैंक क्या है, दोनों का जो डिफरेंस उसका स्क्वायर दिया है, एंड द सम ऑफ द स्क्वायर इज गिवन. दैट मींस सिग्मा di square is given. This is absolutely the type of questions one can expect for the exam. So here n is given, di square is given. We have to find the rank correlation coefficient, which is nothing but, okay, yeah, which is nothing but coming to 0.4. The third example, some of them I have taken from set B as well. For a number of towns, the coefficient of rank correlation between the people living below poverty line and increase of population is 0.5. Again, the sum of squares is given. So please remember, if you are getting this simple type of question regarding Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, ये 100% scoring है, because you will definitely get it right, because the formula is very simple. 1 minus sigma di square divided by n cube minus n, यानी n common लेने से n square minus 1 आएगा, right? So denominator, if you expand, you are getting n cube minus n. So here again, we know sigma di square, which is 82, it is given 82.5. And what else do you need to know? N is given. Okay. So n comes to here, di square is 82.5. Yeah, R, yeah, you have to find n. R is given. The correlation coefficient, that is rank correlation coefficient, is given. Yeah, I have noted your questions. Akshit, 12, 13, 15, 16. If possible, I'll get back to you with the solutions. Okay. Okay. This is chapter 17. I'll check. Right. Now we will look at, so here, this type of question also expected in the exam, because if di square is given and rank is given, rank correlation coefficient, you have to find out n. That means basically in the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, यहाँ पे जो variable है, अगर हम लोग unknowns की बात करें, एक हो सकता है कि di square is not given, आपको निकालना है. एक हो सकता है n आपको निकालना है, या फिर आपको correlation coefficient निकालना पड़ेगा. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is one case. यहाँ पे क्या है? In order to find the covariance. Okay, applied formula. This is okay. Let's look at some of the MCQs now. At the end, bivariate data. ये set A का है. Yeah, basically, Ujjwal, you are right. You have to solve the equation using the formula and the variable. You just need to remember the formula, और जो concept मैंने cover किया, univariate, bivariate. ठीक है, उसके बाद कोरिलेशन का बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, इसके ऊपर भी यू कैन गेट सम क्वेश्चंस. इफ यू चेक द मॉक टेस्ट पेपर एंड द मॉडल टेस्ट पेपर व्हिच इज देयर इन द ICAI बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज वेबसाइट, प्लस इफ यू काइंडली गो थ्रू द RTP revisional test paper, you will find several questions not only on the numerical aspect of this particular chapter, but questions are also there on the theoretical principles. So theory doesn't mean that you ignore. Theory is the technical basis. I never call theory, I call it technical principle. Accounts ka theory means what? Technical principle. If I do not know the technical principle, I cannot prepare any balance sheet or PL. I must know the, not theory, technical principle involved. Theory बोलने से people are theory तो बेकार है. No, never. Theory is nothing in our domain. Theory means technicalities. Financial management, unless I know the formula, in economics, unless I know the concept we normally say theory, but theory we have to say with respect in our mind. Theory is the foundation. Theory, technicality, if it is zero, just by remembering the formula, it will not take us anywhere. So please remember equal importance on the technical principle and the formula, so that you can handle any problem, right? So bivariate data, first question we are taking, now this is on set A. Yes, bivariate data are the data collected for what? For two variable, but with respect to the same point of time. So here if you see option number C is the right answer. Okay, 1C. Tanya, absolutely correct. 1C. The second question is question number 7 from set A. Regression analysis is concerned with what? So please note set A, set B में बहुत सारे न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चंस आर गिवन, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि सेट ए को हम लोग इग्नोर करेंगे, सेट ए सेट बी दोनों को करना है, लेकिन सेट ए में भी बहुत सारे इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस है, सेट बी का बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आई हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड similar questions in the presentation which is given. Regression analysis is concerned with what? First of all, if you see, is it only establishing mathematical relationship? No. Is it measuring the extent of association and predicting the value of the dependent variable? So if you see, we can say that in case of this particular question, this is question number 7. If you see, it is both A and C. So some of our participants have given the right answer. Yes, Narayani. Then we have Harendra Kitari. Yes, absolutely correct. It is both A and C. Next one, what is spurious correlation? So now you see, अभी क्या है कि हम लोग पूरा डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. If you see the video later on, slowly आप पॉज करके देखिए, थोड़ा सा आप मेरे साथ एक बार अंडरस्टैंड करिए. When I was explaining, you will understand that the principles should be clear by now. As a result, when you get these type of questions in the exam, you can understand and tick the right option with confidence. यहाँ पे आपको memorize नहीं करना है. Mathematics, statistics not to be memorized. खाली फॉर्मूला भी एक टाइम आएगा यूज करते करते वो आपका पूरा साइकी में चला जाएगा, आपको याद कॉन्शियसली आपको रिमेंबर नहीं करना होगा, राइट? More and more practice. More practice means more insight. You will understand the pattern, right? So spurious correlation means what? Bad relation between two variables. No, ये सही नहीं है. ऑप्शन नंबर बी ये भी सही नहीं है. लो कोरिलेशन, नो. ऑप्शन सी देखिए, कोरिलेशन बिटवीन two variables having no causal relation. Zero correlation means, या फिर no correlation means, that means there is no correlation. मतलब स्कैटर ग्राफ में ये स्ट्रेट लाइन का आसपास भी नहीं जाएगा. इट इज अ जीरो कोरिलेशन. स्प्यूरियस कोरिलेशन मींस कोरिलेशन हो सकता है बट इट इज नॉट ड्यू टू कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिलेशन, एक्सीडेंटली हो गया. सो स्प्यूरियस कोरिलेशन मींस इट इज ऑप्शन सी पे हम लोग जाएंगे. दिस इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. Question number 13, let us see the next question. The correlation between shoe size and intelligence. Correlation between shoe size intelligence, normally agar socha jaye, we will not have any objective reason for positive or negative. It will be a zero correlation. That means zero or no correlation. So 13th question we can tick option A. Okay. The next lot question comes up, question number 16 and 17. Pearson's correlation coefficient is used for what? So this is the product moment correlation coefficient. 16 number question देखिए. Correlation coefficient for Pearson's is used for finding what? Correlation for any type of relation? No. Is it for linear relation only? Yes. So 16th question, if you see, it will be point number B. Curvilinear relation के लिए नहीं है, B and C भी नहीं है. Question number 17. Product moment correlation coefficient is considered for what? So जैसे आप product moment correlation अभी पढ़ रहे हैं, आपको बैकएंड में याद आ जाएगा कि भाई ये हम लोग कर रहे थे सिग्मा, that is covariance of xy divided by sigma x sigma y into sigma y. So तुरंत mind will capture. That is the intention of our sessions in our LVC, so that you are able to relate and quickly, in a flash of a second, you can relate and you can picturize the formula. So you don't have to memorize blindly. You can understand consciously कि भाई product moment correlation coefficient जो पियर्सन साहब का है, कार्ल पियर्सन साहब ने बनाया, उसका जो फॉर्मूला, उसका जो कॉन्सेप्ट, उसके साथ स्पीयरमैन का जो रैंक कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट, उसका क्या अंतर है, क्या सिमिलरिटी है, क्या डिफरेंस है. That is the intention of these sessions, so that you can understand and not blindly memorize. Okay. So product moment correlation coefficient is considered for what? Finding the nature, finding the amount. Yes, we can say 17th question is C. It is used for both. Question number 18. If the value of correlation coefficient is positive, then the point in the scattered diagram will be what? Just imagine we have discussed and shown number of correlation graphs, scatter graph. So you can see if there is a particular correlation graph, correlation scatter graph, positive correlation. That means x जैसे increase कर रहा है, y भी increase कर रहा है. So automatically just imagine x is going up, y is going up. Okay, that means the point is here. X is again going up, y is going up. So the confluence point is here. So automatically, if you just close your eyes and imagine, or if you draw, you will find that if the correlation coefficient is positive, then the points in the cluster, in the scatter diagram, will be from the lower left-hand corner to the upper right-hand corner, right side. Okay. This is question number 18. I think many of you have got it right. Yes. Okay. Next, we move to number 21. देखते हैं 21. The covariance between two variables. दोनों variable के बीच covariance क्या हो सकता है? Is it strictly positive? No. Because covariance, if you see sigma x minus x bar into y minus y bar. So it can be always zero. No, this is also not correct. It can be either positive or negative or zero. Yes. So question number 21, I think it will be the option number D. Next question, we see 29, set A. When we are not concerned with the magnitude of the two variables under discussion, we consider what? जब magnitude important है, when magnitude is important, then we use either Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient or Spearman's correlation coefficient, which is also called rank correlation coefficient. I repeat, when we are concerned with the magnitude of the two variables, when we are not concerned with the magnitude, but we are concerned with the change of sign, positive to negative. And out of the changes, कौन सा change ऐसा हुआ है जहां पे दोनों वेरिएबल में सेम डायरेक्शन में चेंज हुआ? That means both are positive or both are negative. That is called concurrent deviation. So for 29, the correct answer should be number C. Yani 29 question C, coefficient of concurrent deviation. 33, question number 33. Since blood pressure of a person depends on age, we need to consider what? Depends on age. Yani blood pressure and age will move in the same direction. So in this case, blood pressure of a person depends on age. So if you see here, the regression equation of blood pressure on age, yani age is now the independent variable, blood pressure is the dependent variable. Yani here age is X and blood pressure is Y. So question number 33, the correct option will be option number A. Next, we move to, I'm trying to cover almost most of the questions of set A. 37, the regression line of y on x is derived by y. Regression line of y on x is derived by y. By what? Minimization of vertical distances in the scatter diagram. दूसरा option दिया है minimization of horizontal distances in the scatter diagram. So normally we always say the minimization of vertical distances in the scatter diagram. ये जो distance है उसको ही minimize करना है. So therefore 37th question we will go for option number A. The last two questions, question number 41, if the coefficient of correlation is minus 0.9, that means fairly strong, I would say a robust negative correlation, minus 0.9, then coefficient of determination is how much? We have already discussed in detail that coefficient of determination is the square of the coefficient of correlation. So if the coefficient of correlation is minus 0.9, so the coefficient of determination is how much? Minus 0.9 into minus 0.9. So it is minus 0.9 square. That means it is 0.81. So for question number 41, we will choose option number B. And the last question is question number 42. If the coefficient of correlation between two variables is 0.7, so you can see even in set A, we have numerical questions. Okay, set B is exclusively numericals, but set A, if you see, we have few numerical questions towards the end, which are very intelligent questions, which also test your understanding of the technical principles as well as the formula. Question number 42, if the coefficient of correlation is 0.7, then the percentage of variation unaccounted. काफी interesting है. So we know coefficient of determination is what? The square of the coefficient of correlation. So coefficient of correlation is 0.7, yani coefficient of determination is square of that. 0.7 into 0.7, which is 0.49. But we also know that the coefficient of determination shows you it is a ratio of explained variance by total variance. So if the coefficient of determination is 0.49, we can say that 49%, 0.49 yani 49% of the total variance is explained. Uska explanation mila hai. So unaccounted for yani unexplained variance क्या होगा? 1 minus 0.49. 0.49 अगर explained है, so unexplained क्या होगा? 1 minus 0.49. Because we know कि जो भी कोएफिशिएंट की हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, मैक्सिमम वैल्यू इज +1. सो 1 minus 0.49 करने से आपको मिलेगा 0.51, 51, यानी 51%, 51% cases we will see it is the unaccounted amount. So question number 42, I think we can pick option number C, which is 51% in this case. So already we have overshot our time, and I will close the session. I will thank all of you, and for this session we have covered a lot of details, and I hope you have been able to follow. Please check, if possible, please go through the video once again at your convenience. And as I said, please remember the important formula. Number one is we discussed about univariate, bivariate. Please remember correlation coefficient and regression coefficient. Upper boundary is +1, lower boundary is -1. Correlation coefficient basically depends on covariance divided by the product of the individual standard deviation of the two variables x and y. Please remember that. Next is the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n cube minus n, or n common lene se within bracket n square minus 1. And lastly, please remember regression coefficient केवल एक ही वहां पे formula है, that is byx and bxy. It is the reverse. Last but not the least, please remember, which we covered, that the regression, the correlation coefficient is the geometric mean of the two regression coefficients. Correlation coefficient R is the geometric mean of the two regression coefficient byx and bxy, right? So this is where we are ending. I will request IT to please conclude the session. We have already almost 4:15. So thanks a lot, and please practice the numericals. Set A, set B. Set A, most of the questions we have analyzed. Set B, if time permits, I will take up. We just have one session left on index numbers. If time permits, I have noted some of the queries, and I will try to take it up on the last day if time permits. Other than that, please practice the MTP, RTP, and the model test paper. Thank you, and I hand it over to IT for concluding the session. Yeah, Board of Studies, sir, anyone there from the IT team? Yeah, sir, we can complete it. We have completed the full session. We can conclude, sir.